Hi, thanks for watching the Louie File. Today I wanted to share a couple of things in the scriptures with you, but I wanted to start off by asking, have you ever felt like people thought you were crazy? Have you ever been accused of being out of your mind? Maybe you're on medication, maybe you've been diagnosed by a medical professional. And I am not here to demean any of that or to say it's right or wrong. I just wanted to share with you some stuff out of Mark and then out of Luke, and maybe think about this a little bit as to what's really going on with these accusations. You know, we know that we live in a fallen world, and what is up is down and what's down is up, and what's in is out and out is in. The fall really turned mankind inside out, and what we began to think was good is really not good from God's view. And you know, if the world is saturated in a upside down view with a fallen earthly demonic wisdom, according to what James tells us, that this wisdom that's from below is even demonic, then wouldn't that mean if you're living a righteous, upright life that the world system would think you're the one that was backwards and upside down and maybe even crazy? So I was going to share some things with you so that you see that you're in some good company. In Mark chapter 3 we see where Jesus picked his 12 disciples, and when he came from that, it's in Mark 3:20, it says, "And he came home, and the crowd gathered again to such an extent that they could not even eat a meal." In verse 21, when his own people, or kinsmen, his own very own family, Jesus' very own family, heard of this, they went out to take custody of him, for they were saying, "He has lost his senses." So Jesus' very own earthly family thought he had lost his mind. So they went out to seize him, to take hold of him. And then it says the scribes who came down from Jerusalem were saying, "He's possessed by Beelzebul." So the scribes were accusing Jesus of having demons. So his family thought he was nuts, and the religious leaders of his day thought he had demons working in him. So Jesus responded in verse 23, and he called them to himself and began speaking to them in parables. It says, "How can Satan cast out Satan? If a kingdom is divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. If a house is divided against itself, that house will not be able to stand. If Satan has risen up against himself and is divided, he cannot stand, but he is finished. But no one can enter the strong man's house and plunder his property unless he first binds the strong man, and then he will plunder his house." Wow, so Jesus is telling us that the strong man, Satan, has to be bound up first. You can't just barge in there and take his stuff. And Jesus' mission was to free all of us who have been held captive by Satan to do his will. That was Jesus' mission. So in the midst of that, in his doing that, the real captives of Satan were accusing him of being operated by Satan. Look with me now in Luke chapter 8. This is kind of a lengthy story, so I'm not going to read it all, but Luke chapter 8, starting at verse 26 all the way through 39, we see the story of a man who identified himself as Legion. And he had a legion of spirits, unclean spirits that were living in him. And he ran around unclothed, and he lived among the tombs. So when Jesus shows up, the unclean spirits cry out to him. And Luke 8:30, and Jesus asked him, "What is your name?" And he said, "Legion," for many demons had entered him. They were imploring him not to command them to go away into the abyss. So these demons knew who Jesus was. Verse 32, "Now there was a herd of many swine feeding there on the mountain, and the demons implored him to permit them to enter the swine, and he gave them permission. And the demons came out of the man and entered the swine, and the herd rushed down the steep bank into the lake and was drowned." Now look at this, verse 34. "When the herdsmen saw what had happened, they ran away and reported it in the city and out in the country. As soon as they saw this man cured and these demons run these pigs off the cliff, they were running quickly to tell the story. Luke 8:35, the people went out to see what had happened, and they came to Jesus and found the man from whom the demons had gone out. Look at this, sitting down at the feet of Jesus. He was in a state of calm, clothed and in his right mind. Here's what I wanted you to see. And they became frightened. Isn't that something? You know, when this man was uncontrollable, running around naked in the tombs, and they couldn't do anything with him, they had to chain him up. I think they had grown accustomed to it. They were okay with him being crazy. They were okay with him being out of control because they had just settled it in their mind that that's who and what he was. But now that he was clothed and he had been transformed so radically, and he was seated at Jesus' feet in his right mind, they became frightened. Now, why would this frighten them? I think the main thing is because they were in the presence of Jesus, this man who had the power to transform this crazy guy into a sane guy. He, according to Jesus' own words, he had bound Satan in this man and set him free. Had put these demonic spirits over into this herd of pigs and freed the man. And it's as if it seems as though these people would have rather had the pigs back. You know, when someone gets born again and they are brought back into their right mind, the mind of Christ, the mind that God has always intended for humans to operate in, the people that are still outside of that mind, that are still operating according to the mind of the flesh, which is really demonic, those people become frightened because all of a sudden it shows them that they're the ones that must be out of sort. There's something really wrong in their mind and in their world. The one accusing the other one of being crazy is in fact discovering maybe they're the crazy one. Wow. So, I just thought I would share this with you. If you feel ostracized by maybe your own family, or maybe the people you go to church with just don't get you, don't give up. Be encouraged. It may just be possible that you're the one in your right mind and they're the ones that aren't getting it. Ask God to show you. Ask God for His wisdom. The Bible says if you lack wisdom in James 1, ask God and believe. Believe that He will give you wisdom. But don't doubt. Don't be tossed back and forth. Don't be double-minded. Pray for those that persecute you. That's what Jesus said. And He said that no student is going to be greater than his teacher, right? He said if the world hates me, it's going to hate you too. But cheer up, because He's overcome the world. Thank God that I found myself in my right mind, which is the mind of Christ. It is the gift that God gives to all of His children to operate in His wisdom and in His mind, which may look kind of nutty to the world, but who's really out of their mind? I'll talk to you next time. Thanks for watching.